Hi everyone, welcome to the industry ready course on DSA and Oracle database with a real-time project, which is a new initiative by the Exampreptool. You all already know that, so we have already started the program, started on March 16th. Some demo videos are going on and we are providing up to 50% off and very limited seats are available. Try to grab the opportunity and start your learning journey, right? You can reach out to us for more details. Reddy Sir number and my number, so you can reach out to us. We will provide more information. And also you are going to have a summer break, right? So try to utilize the opportunity and enroll the program. Try to utilize the summer break very effectively, right? If you have any doubts, you can reach out to us. All right. So we will begin with the topic. So what exactly database and DBMS means, right? Can you tell me in the chat box, what do you mean by the database and database management system? Exact difference. The first question is, first fundamentally, so what is the purpose of database? Why we need database, right? Why we need database? Tell me. To store the data, we will use the databases. Why we store the data? For the future reference. What do you mean by the future reference? What exactly the meaning of that? Why we need to store the data? For the future reference. Can you tell me? How it helps you if you store the data? That is the first fundamental question that you should ask yourself. Why we store the data? For the future reference, right? What exactly meaning of that? If you store the data in the database, what happens? In the future, at any point of time, you wanted to refer that particular data, right? If you store, then it will become easy to refer the data. How do you refer the data? By querying, by writing some queries, SQL queries, right? And you can analyze the data based on your requirement. Eventually, you can take the effective decision making, right? That is the purpose of database, right? Purpose of storing the data, right? What is the definition of the database? Can you tell me? Now you understood purpose. Now what is the definition of the database? You might have seen different definitions, right? But we will understand in a more depth, in a clear way, what exactly the meaning of the database is. Try to understand the terminology very carefully. If you understand this definition, then half of your work is done for the today's class, right? See here. So what is the meaning of the definition of the database? A database is a very well organized and structured collection of logically interrelated data. Let me repeat again, okay? Database is a well organized, structured collection of logically interrelated data, right? That is stored electronically in a systematic manner. In the next class, we will try to break each and every word and we will understand what do you mean by the well organized and structured collection of logically interrelated data. What exactly the meaning of logically interrelated data? What happens if you don't organize the data properly? What happens if there is no structure for the data? Right? It is not only understanding the definition theoretically, but practically you need to understand in a more deeper way, right? Then only it will become easier for you to learn the subject. Are you getting? Let me repeat the definition. A database is a well organized and structured collection of logically interrelated data that is stored electronically in a systematic manner. Are you getting? Yes. So now, why database is designed? Okay. Now you are saying the database is a well organized and structured collection of interrelated data that is storing somewhere, right? What happens if you store data proper way, proper organized and structured way, right? Data management will become more easier, right? What do you mean by the data management, right? It will facilitate you to retrieve the data from the database very fastly, right? Understand carefully. Data retrieval from the database becomes very easy. You can say very effective, very quick, right? And also, if you want to modify the data, if you want to modify the existing data in a database, it will become more easier. And also, you can do it in a more secure way, right? Only authorized persons can only modify the existing data. That is what I say, that data security, data integrity and data consistency will be always maintained. Okay, are you getting? Database is designed to facilitate effective data retrieval and insertion and any modification in terms of update and management of data while ensuring what? Data integrity, data security and data consistency. So each and every word we are going to see in later point of the course. Are you getting? But now understand what do you mean by the data integrity and data consistency little bit, without elaborating in a more detailed way, because if I elaborate in a more detailed way, it will become very lengthy lecture. So instead of that, let me quickly cover what do you mean by the data security, data consistency and data integrity, right? Suppose you have a database, right? Now you wanted to modify the data. Can you tell me if any other person comes, unauthorized person comes and modified the data? So what do you say? Any unauthorized person can modify the data? If it is a traditional way of storing the data, then there is a chance that there may be chance if it is a file system, if you are storing the database in data in the file system, there may be chance that sometimes it may happen. But database must ensure no unauthorized person can access the data. Only if you are authorized person, then only I will allow you to modify the data. It will say clearly. That is the purpose of the main purpose of the database. One of the important criteria and characteristic of the database, right? And data consistency. What do you mean by the data consistency? Now you are doing the transaction in the any banking transaction. Imagine now in the database. So whenever you do the transaction, right, any banking transaction, immediately you can check the all every places in your accounts. It will reflect immediately, right? How is happening in the background? Database is the reason for that. Are you getting? Database is the reason for that. That is what the data integrity also comes under the same category. It will maintain the accuracy of the data, right? Okay. In a simple terminology, you can say database is a kind of repository or maybe the digital platform where you are storing the data for the future references, and you can take properly data from the databases and analyze it for effective decision making, right? The same thing, right? And also I can say database is the one of the more critical component, one of the most important component in the modern software applications or maybe the business systems. On top of databases, not only database developer, there are so many other set of people also, users, maybe developers are working. It may be the data warehousing people, ETL developers, data analyst, and Power BI developers for reporting, generating the reporting and all, right? And all the data related roles are depends on majorly on databases only. Try to understand. That is why we have come up with a very unique course, which is not only, our intention is not only providing the basic fundamental SQL queries or maybe the procedure. No, it is not like just like another course. Not only we are giving the in-depth knowledge in databases, and also we are going to provide you the real-time project. For that we are going to give the certificate also. Maybe if you want internship certificate, we are going to provide you internship certificate. Or if you have any career gap, you wanted to bridge that career gap with real experience, if you contact, if you tell your concern properly, so we are going to provide you the experience certificate also. Try to understand, we are going to provide you the experience certificate also. With that experience you can enter into the IT very easily. We are going to guide you properly. Are you getting? Okay, let us understand and take and take an example of library and understand and correlate with the database. Okay, let us assume you are in a library. Library contain the huge books. Okay, the massive library with contain so many books. Understand carefully, when you enter into the library, what you see, there is so many books, right? If you observe carefully, always the books are organized. Suppose let's say you are in a university library, so books are organized in a proper way, department wise and category wise, right? Agree? Now you can consider this category as a tables, and the books as in data. And every book, there must be one unique number will be assigned. If it a very well organized library, if it is a very well organized library, definitely there will be a integer, some number will be, some ID will be assigned to the each book, right? Book ID, you can say. For each category it is divided, and right in that the books are available with the proper book IDs, right? Are you getting? So if you organize the like this, so then what happens, it will make you super easy to find the book whatever that you are looking for in the library, right? Now suppose let's say you wanted to pick the one book related to the machine learning, right? And what you will do, you can go to that particular category which is a table, and if you know the already the book ID, then you can pick the easily that category, you can take that book very easily, right? Isn't it? What I am saying, see, observe carefully. When you are in a library, you always, you might have noticed that it is very well organized, right? Meaning the books are organized into the different categories, different section, department wise, and each book is assigned with a some number, right? Some integer number, unique identifier, you can say book ID. Similarly, you can correlate with this example, you can relate with this example with a database. Are you getting? Just like how you are going, how you are taking the book very easily from the library, similarly you can take the data from the databases very easily, right? Are you able to relate this example with the database? Right. Okay, you can say simply databases are a smart library for digital data, isn't it? Okay, right. Now let us understand the characteristics of the database. Okay, any database in the world, observe carefully, any database in the world, if it is a good database, then it must agree all this, it must have all these characteristics. Try to understand carefully. By looking at the icons, you can identify the points also, right? Now let me tell you one by one. Okay, so let me ask you one question. Okay, what makes the database so smart, right? What makes database so smart? What are the exact characteristics of the database? Now you already seen in the definition I was talking about. In the definition, database is a very well organized and structured collection of logically interrelated data, right? What do you mean by that? From that definition, can you tell me one point, one important characteristic? Right, structured organization. Okay, structured organization, what is that meaning? Data is stored in the different formats. Try to understand. Here I will tell you one important thing. Data is stored in a different format. It may be the tables. Try to understand, it may be the tables, it may be in a document format, it may be in a key value pair format, or maybe so and so many other things will be there. So don't think that when the data is storing in the database means not only in a tabular format, there may be other options also there. Based on your business requirement, project to project, the way of storing the data will change. Understand? Let me repeat again. Based on your business requirement, right? Project to project, there may be the way of storing the data will change. Don't assume that database means only storing in the tabular format. Yes, I agree. If you come and you say I am using the relational database management system or DBMS, then you can say that yeah, data is stored in a tabular format. What if I say in a MongoDB? What if I pick the some other DB, Cassandra, something like that, right? The way will change, way of storing, way of organizing the data will change. So in academics, majority of the cases we don't cover, the faculties may not cover this point because the time is limited. They don't cover all other category databases. Okay, they will mostly cover the relational databases. We will see what are the different types of databases in the next slide. For now we will understand what are the different characteristics of the database, right? So what is the first point here? Structured organization. What does that mean? Data may be stored in a different in the form of tables, or maybe in a document format, maybe in a key value pairs. Right. What is the next thing? Data integrity. What does that mean? We have seen in the previous slides. We are talking about the data integrity, right? What does that mean? It maintains accuracy and consistency. Right. Suppose let's say there is a table which is storing the student marks, and the requirement is you should this particular table store this particular student's marks column must be an integer number, right? At any point of time it becomes nifty. What will happen? You are losing the consistency of the data, right? You're not following the exact business rule. So that is what I say, if any good databases, it must satisfy the data integrity and data consistency, right? That is the one of the important characteristics of the database. What is the next? Data security, right? We have seen already that if you enter into that library, so only what will happen, the first thing, whether you are authorized person or not, they will check, right? So in the database also, if you are a user of the database, or if you are the authorized person, then only it will enter into the database to check the database or modify the data. Are you getting? Only authorized persons can access the data. If the person is unauthorized, if user is unauthorized, then it won't allow at all, right? That is what security restricts the unauthorized access. Are you getting? What is the next point? Efficient access. Efficient access. What does that mean? It provides the fast retrieval of the data. How it provides the fast retrieval of the data? Can you tell me? If you organize the data in a proper format, for example, take an example of RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay, RDBMS. Assume the table is having the indexes. Then what will happen? It will speed up the retrieval of the data. It will speed up the retrieval of the data. You can get the data very easily, very fastly, very quickly. Are you getting? One more important characteristic of the DBMS database is what? Data redundancy reduction. It will minimize the data redundancy. Wherever necessary, there only it will keep the data. Otherwise, it won't allow at all. It will eliminate the duplicate data. In simple way, you can say no repeated junk data. Are you getting? So these are the very important characteristics of the database. Okay, wherever you see, whichever database is, so definitely you are going to talk about these points only, right? Now let us understand what are the different types of databases, different examples of the databases. Now see here, I was talking about relational databases and other databases, right, previously. Now if you talk about there are three, these are the major categories, I can say. There are so many categories are there. I feel that these are the relevant databases for you, because these are the mostly used databases, the frequent databases, I can say. Like I said previously in one of the slide, so based on your business organization, based on your requirement, project requirement, the based on the way that you are going to store the data, your manager is going to pick the databases accordingly. Are you getting? Suppose let's say you wanted to store the data in a tabular format. What is the easiest way? What is the easiest way that you can pick? Easiest databases you can pick? MySQL or Postgres, it is a open source database. Suppose let's say you wanted to go for a licensed version, more robust and more popular database, you can pick Oracle database. Are you getting? Suppose let's say now you wanted to store the data in a document format. Are you getting? You wanted to store the data in a document format, then you can go for MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database category. Sometimes people call it as a document database also. Now if you want your database as a more scalable, more high available databases, now you can go for a cloud database category. Try to understand this category, very important. Being a computer science student, you must know what are the different types of databases available and which is the most famous database available in the market, category wise, right? Now let us understand this particular slide. Carefully observe, these are the rankings of the different databases category wise. You can use the filters and you can get the different categories. Just reach out to me, ping me in WhatsApp. I will provide you the exact link for this website. Okay, you can see Oracle is the very oldest database. No database is in the world, no database in the world is able to beat the Oracle database. Let me repeat, no database in the world is able to compete with the Oracle database. It is very oldest database and very robust database and most popularly used database in the industry, in the category of relational database management system, RDBMS. It is a number one database. Are you getting? Try to take the screenshot if you want. Very important slide. All right. Right, you can see Oracle is the number one. The next immediately MySQL, which is also taken by the Oracle Corporation only. And the Microsoft SQL Server, that is also very popular. And the Postgres database, which is an open source database, that is also nowadays very popular. Now, once you learn one relational database, right? So then learning remaining relational database becomes dead easy. It is a cakewalk. And nowadays Snowflake also very good in the market. That is also one of the relational databases. Once you learn, like I said, like once you learn one relational database completely, it's not like learning only joins and subqueries, right? Majority of the people, while they are in colleges, they are learning only up to joins, subqueries, maybe the views, and they are ignoring the part that there is a, in the database there is a one more component is there, the PLSQL. If you consider the Oracle database, that means you are extending the um, procedural programming language capabilities to the SQL, right? Being a computer science students, you must aware of the fact that, so you need to apply the intelligence to the your SQL queries by writing the procedures, functions, and then some optimization related points, I mean concepts to your requirement, maybe whatever maybe the business requirement, right? Okay, all right, then we will move ahead and understand what is the next thing. Database management system. Now you have seen the definition of the databases, right? What is that? Tell me. Please comment in a chat box. What is the meaning of the definition of the database? A database is a well organized. Try to understand the terminology. I am repeating intentionally because it's very very important. A database is a well organized and structured collection of logically interrelated data. Okay, then what do you mean by the database management system here, DBMS? Tell me. Yes, many of you already know that what is the meaning of the DBMS, database management system. Try to understand carefully here. A database management is a software that interacting with the databases. For what purpose it is interacting with the database? Can you tell me? It is interacting to store the data in the databases. DBMS is a software that is communicating with the databases. For what purpose? To store the data in the database, to retrieve very effectively from the databases, and to manipulate the data, whatever may be the operation, maybe insert, maybe update, maybe delete. That is what a manipulation of data. And also you've also seen that a good database is must enforce the security, ensure the data security and access control, right? It must ensure data integrity. How? Tell me. In your DBMS, in your academics, you may be having a transaction management, right? Transaction and concurrency control management, right? So there you have studied acid properties, right? Acid properties, right? Right. And what is the other point? Database DBMS must handle concurrency for multiple users. What does that mean? Tell me. Yes, tell me. It supports the many users at once without crashing. Concurrency control. Okay. It must support many users at once without crashing the system. Right? Yes. The same definition we will extend and we will understand in a different way. Okay. DBMS is a software that acts as an intermediary between users or applications and the databases. Users here means developers, assume. Applications here means The application programs, maybe the front end UI based screens, and that you are going to see, right? That one. Database DBMS sits between the users, or maybe the or application programs and database. Are you getting? Yeah, same thing. What happens if you don't have a DBMS? What happens if you don't have a DBMS? What happens? Tell me. Without DBMS, then you need to write application programs, or maybe the database management system related programs to interact with the database raw files. What happens if you write everything from scratch? Cost of development will become very high. If you are working in the project, there will be always one point that they will always think only about how can they reduce the cost of the development. Are you getting? If you write everything from the scratch, then what will happen? There are a lot of things, security issues will come, lot of inconsistency, inefficiency, development cost will increase, budget will increase automatically, right? Nobody will going to agree that. Are you getting? That is why, let me tell you one point, important thing. So now you are storing the database in data in the databases, right? You have a business organization. Now you are, whatever the data related to that particular business organization, you are storing in the wire database, right? Like that, there are so many business organizations in the world, right? Every business organization is storing the data in the database, right? If they wanted to refer some data, any business owner or business organization want to refer some data from the database, that what will happen? What they will do? Tell me. They will communicate with the database, right? They will communicate with the database. Assume, okay? They have to communicate with the databases, right? How they will communicate with the database? Can you tell me? Right. So now what I'm saying, the business organizations are always storing the data in the databases, right? But if they want to refer the data from the databases every time, then what will they have to communicate with the database, right? To refer the some data. Every time they have to communicate with the database, right? If they don't have a database, then what will happen? It will become very complex to understand the, right, how they interact, how the storing and everything. In the background, it will become really difficult, right? It user can't understand each and everything that is there in the database, right? Because it doesn't allow direct interaction. All right. Now, what is the common requirement here? Every time you need to communicate with the database to refer the data, to get the data. Every business organization, to get the data, it has to communicate with the databases. So that is why there are so many vendors came forward, and they designed a software called database management system. To fulfill this requirement, to get the data from the databases properly, to store the data in the databases properly, very effectively, So many vendors in the market, they came forward and they created their own DBMS softwares. For example, if you take Oracle corporation, it came up with the Oracle databases, Microsoft SQL Server, and open source software like PostgreSQL, and then MySQL. There are so many vendors came in the market and they have given us the software, right? Now take an example of same library example with respect to the DBMS. What does that meaning? Now in the database, while we are discussing the database, we have seen that library is we have related that database definition with the what? Library, right? Now here understand carefully. What do you mean by the exactly DBMS? If you understand this example, then over, right? Now see here. What is the first step that you when you enter into the library? Can you tell me? Right, what they will do, librarian will ask you whether you are a authorized person or not, authorized students or not, whether you belong to the same college or not, or whether or maybe same department or not, right? You are going to show your ID card, and then you can, right, they will ensure you are belong to this department only, right? Ensuring that you belong to the same department, right? Exactly, right. What will happen next? Now you wanted to get some book, you wanted to take some book from the library. What you will do once the security, that authorization is done, right? Then you can able to see that all the books are organized in a proper way, right? The librarian will do the proper organization of the books, and ensuring that there is no repeated duplicate books with the same number. I mean, in the library there will be a category wise organization of the books with a integer number, unique integer number for each and every book, ensuring that there is no duplication of the books, book IDs, I mean. When the books are organized in a proper category, in a proper way, then what will happen? Identifying the right books, that whatever you want, becomes very easy, isn't it? Identifying the books, right book becomes easy, right? Exactly, that is where the librarian will come into the picture, like in terms of you can correlate with the DBMS with the librarian. What librarian is doing, he is ensuring the security by checking your ID card, and also he is only organizing the data properly, I mean books properly, right? Whether the books are organized or not, he is going to verify all those things, right? And if you want particular book, then he will guide you, go to that particular section, that is the book id of the book id they will give you, and then you can easily identify the book, right? That is what query execution, to find the right book. So if you have a book id, then finding the book, right book, becomes very easy. Why? It is very well organized, right? Now you can understand. Here you can correlate with the example that, so library is a database and librarian is a kind of DBMS software, okay, ensuring the security, data organization, query execution properly. Query execution, I mean, like speedily you can pick the book, right? Exactly, right. Now you have seen the definition of the database and database management system. These are the few questions for your assessment. You can go through the questions, try to give us answers in a chat box or maybe in comment box. We will try to give you the answer back, and otherwise in the next session we are going to see in a very detailed way what exactly the things, what exactly the meaning of the well organized or well structured, or what exactly the meaning of the logically interrelated data. Okay, and one more important things to motivate you, to encourage you. Suppose, let's say now you have you created a one social media application, and which database you are going to select, whether you are going to select a relational databases or no SQL database. What is the reason for that one? The next important question, next one more question is, now you created one chart application. Which category of database you are going to select and why? Can you answer? And one more question. So what is the ideal characteristics of the best characteristics of the good database? Right? Please answer all this. If not answer, at least try to think by yourself, like, okay, you wanted to store the more of video kind of thing, like Instagram, more of video sharing platform, right? Reel sharing platform. How, which database is used in a background? Why? What is the reason? You wanted to store more of PDF kind of document kind of things. Which database you are going to select? And also, before closing the session, let me tell you, in the market, in the majority of the organization, 80 up to 85% of the databases are more of like relational databases only. But yeah, there are very very big organizations which is working on so many other things, right? Like social media application, if you see more of video sharing, right? Exactly. If you take the Instagram, the users will be there, user likes will be there, user post will be there, user reel will be there, video category, like how the things are happening in background, which database is there, how it is working, right? Try to think, try to think. Okay. Okay, so now we will encourage you to write whatever the answers that you got, right? All this question, try to write answers in the LinkedIn, try to tag us in the LinkedIn, tag our Exampreptool page and and other people. And if you have any questions or concerns, please try to reach out to us. We will try to help you. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your attention.